Hey everyone, Tara Malarkey. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode is super exciting. If you're watching YouTube, welcome. Leave a comment, subscribe below. But I'm going to be talking about why following your feelings in business and life will lead you to destruction. And this comes from building $1 million business, kind of tearing it down, then building back up to multi-million dollars, having many challenges along the way, and seeing where my wounds and my emotional capacity to grow really held me back. And that was because I continuously tried to follow how I was feeling. And especially when I didn't feel good about something, I would contract. And sometimes it makes us stay in something that also isn't good for us. So today it's going to be a jam-packed short episode. I just want to give you guys this word because I know it's going to speak to someone. One of my clients just posted recently. She said one of the biggest things that it has, blown up her business is that she learned from me that she needed to follow the facts instead of following her feelings. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. The thing is that the world says to follow your heart, just follow how you feel, right? And there actually is a lot of wisdom in the fact that your body knows things and you do have intuition that is constantly screaming and telling you things. However, if you do have some early trauma or even later trauma, emotional wounding, where you've been abused in some way, emotionally, especially by someone, then that kind of gets very murky. Like your ability to tap into your intuition and know whether it's telling you the right thing or the wrong thing, right? You're with me, right? You know this feeling where you're like, is this right? Like, is this intuition or is this trauma, right? And a lot of times it's hard to unpack that. And I can't give you the answer because I don't know your unique situation, but I am going to just tell you what I do and how I figure out when I'm just following my feelings and how my feelings might be leading me into a destructive pattern and how to get out of that. So common understanding in the world is just like follow how you feel, like instant gratification. If you want to eat this, eat this. If you want to go out with this person, go out with this person. We stay in the wrong relationships too long sometimes because of our desires, because of attachment, and it's actually not the best thing for us. Or we quit side hustles or new businesses or jobs when they get tough, right? When it feels hard. A lot of times the thing that feels hard, like we can equate that to feeling wrong, but that's actually not the case all of the time. So how do we discern this? Sometimes we end up self-sabotaging by finding fault in someone, in a peer or a mentor, to justify our feelings and get us out of something. So this is really wild. A lot of this is subconscious and we don't even realize it. The world says follow how you feel about what you want to eat, what you want to drink, if you want to exercise today, right? And so this idea of discipline doesn't really come into play when we're just following our feelings, because most of the times our feelings are going to lead us to destruction. And I've seen it after coaching thousands of women at this point in my life and my business. Most are running their business based on feelings. And that's why most coaches, for example, never even get past a 6-figure level, because they're following just this pattern that they're in, which is just following what they're feeling to do. So it's like, today, if I feel like posting on social media, or if I feel like making offers, or if I feel like writing a new post or writing a new email. And the ones who are successful understand that you're not going to ever have a successful business if you're following how you feel all the time, because you're not always going to feel like doing the thing you need to do to have a successful business. Okay. And the other thing to note is that current feelings are based on past experiences, meaning like the life you've lived up until this point. So you have something called like a capacity limit. And if all you've known is, say, toxic or unhealthy relationships, or if all you've known is just getting by financially and like barely able to pay your bills, guess what? You're going to keep making decisions that keep you within that comfort zone, even though that's not even a comfort zone. It's just what you know. So your current feelings will just keep you in there. Even if you don't like it, there's some kind of comfort there, and you will continue to make decisions that will lead you right back into that comfort zone. Crazy, but really empowering to understand this. So your barometer for what feels good might be off. Actually, having more wealth might feel so uncomfortable to you. And so you might not make decisions that lead you there because subconsciously you don't actually want that. It feels way too scary or unknown. And so this is interesting. Feeling good might make you actually contract. You might not know how to have healthy relationships. And so that might, if something is good and peaceful, if someone comes into your life and there's not a lot of drama, you might not like it and you might want to go in a different direction. Feeling good might make you choose the bad boy or the bad girl and stay in a bad relationship for way too long. And isn't that crazy, right? Because there's some level of resonance, but it doesn't necessarily feel good, or it's not your highest level. It's not what you want. So in many cases, your feelings need to be checked with something else, right? We can't always just listen to our intuition when we still have unhealed stuff that hasn't been unpacked. Now, this isn't to say that you can't trust yourself. I'm not trying to tell you that, because we don't want to, develop a shadow around ourselves that says like, I can't even trust myself. But it is good to understand that you might not be able right now to trust every feeling in a certain area of your life because you have some things to heal or work out. And so therapy helps with this, because in therapy, we actually get to unpack what's underneath the surface level feeling. And a lot of times the surface level feeling, the initial reaction, isn't the truth. And if we can go deeper than that, then we can actually find out what it really is, and we unpack that, and we might make a different decision from that place. And of course, the ultimate healer, Jesus, can help us with this because he formed us perfectly, and he actually knows how to restore our heart and our nervous system to exactly what it needs to be after we might have been wounded in this life. So praying about this area of your life might really be, well, will transform this area of your life in such a way that you couldn't even do it by muscling it on your own. The problem is that sometimes we can be super analytical, like I can understand, oh my gosh, I have these patterns, but I can't do it in my own strength. I need him to come and help me heal the part of myself that needs healing, that needs to become whole again, where it was maybe broken or wounded. And so in business, guys, I teach my clients to look at the numbers. This is such a masculine thing, right? Like men do this really well in business, but women tend not to do this really well. And after coaching thousands of women, I can see that this is something that holds so many women back, is that they don't want to look at the numbers. They usually want to base decisions based on how they feel. And usually the feelings are wrong, or the feelings are leading them astray, actually. So for example, last week I had one of my mastermind clients come and she said to me, I think I'm going to shut down this ad because I haven't been getting the applications that I want from qualified leads. And I'm like, okay, let's look at the numbers. So if you ask any one of my clients, I'll always say, let's look at the numbers. What do the numbers say first? Because I know what you're telling me. You're telling me it doesn't feel good. You're not seeing the applications that you want to see. And so therefore you've concluded it doesn't work. Well, when she gave me the numbers, I was like, these numbers are outstanding, amazing. Like no one's getting like $3 leads. So that the ad is not the problem. Let's look at what the problem might be. And when we unpacked it, we realized, oh my gosh, she was about to shut something down that's actually amazing, and something else needed attention. So we need to learn as women in business to look at the numbers. We cannot measure and make decisions based on how we feel only. Okay. I'm not saying that your intuition doesn't play a part in business. It's actually an advantage that we have as women. But a lot of times when we have some fear around money, and we have a capacity problem around money and growing money and how much we're investing in mentorship or advertising, then what? We make decisions that are mostly based on fear and not based on like where we want to be. And so that is really key. Today's culture is going to tell you, follow how you feel, even like over what is righteous. And many times our feelings are going to lead us astray, right? Think about the people who have addictions to drugs or pornography, or they've had a lot of affairs in their life. These are feelings that they had, that they were desires, and they listened to those desires because they put their flesh first, right? And it led them into depths of darkness and circles of patterns that they're just probably repeating generation after generation. And so like addiction in any of these forms, even food addiction, begins from these patterns that are unhealed trauma. It causes us to reach for things that will never satisfy. And they're usually flesh stuff, right? And none of us are perfect, right? We all can have some of this stuff, but when we listen to our flesh is actually insatiable. It's always going to want more. And it's when the enemy has a hold on us. And sin will only give us momentary pleasure, but it likely won't bring us to the elevated place we're actually really seeking, which is like, the peace of God and healthy relationships, right? And that requires discipline. It does require discipline to not follow how we feel. None of us are perfect. But even in business, guys, right? We want to check our feelings all the time with the facts, right? So that we can grow into a bigger place. That's why you're here. That's why you're listening to this, is like, you're a growth seeker. You want to get better and better, make more money, have bigger businesses, have better relationships, have a bigger legacy to leave. And so that's what we need to do. We need to really look at the way our feelings might be based on past experiences that are unhealthy, right? That some of them we caused, some of them we were born into, and we need to not make decisions from those places anymore. So every single time I invite you to, right, if it's in business, look at the numbers before you make decisions, or check it with a therapist, or check it with a friend that has really sound judgment on these things. Like, is this just me being attached to something, me having a fleshy desire for something, me having a small mindedness around money, and so I'm contracting? Like, please help me understand, am I making this decision from the right place? And our feelings sometimes will lead us astray. And that's the main thing I want you to know right now. And as a Christian, right, like our loving Father, he actually gave us a guidebook on the order of things, on relationships, on perseverance, on honor and commitment and forgiveness and even discipline, and ultimately love. And so when we're not sure, we can also just go to the word and we can seek scripture, and he will actually help us. That is where I check my feelings on, because he will tell me what is the ultimate guidebook for this life that will keep us in his grace. And there's no other way to live. In my opinion, I tried it, but there really is no other way to live. So I hope this serves you today. I love you guys. If you're here, I would love if you left a comment, left a review, lets me know that you're listening. This is serving you. And if you have any questions, of course, come to my DMs on Instagram. I manage them myself. You could send me a message and just let me know that you're listening. Or if you have any questions or anything you'd like me to cover on the podcast or on YouTube, I'd love to hear from you.